Welcome back, beautiful people. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Now, up next, we have My Healthy Minutes segment featuring Nichole Andrews. She is a registered dietitian specializing in oncology nutrition and an influencer of sorts. We're going to be chatting with her in just a few. But before we do, it's important to note that My Healthy Minutes is brought to you by Aikido Pharma. Aikido Pharma is an early stage drug development company dedicated to developing new solutions for life-threatening diseases. They publicly trade on the NASDAQ under ticker symbol AIKI. Now, today's headliner focus is famed actress Rosario Dawson coming out and saying that her father's cancer diagnosis inspired her to eat a gut health diet. Now, what exactly does this mean? Well, Rosario is very open about her vegan diet and how her eating habits changed after her father was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. In a new interview with Eating Well, she said she got super into food and its connection to gut health while sitting by her dad's side, going on to say that she learned a lot about gut health with her dad's cancer treatment, and that gut health is emotional health and physical health, in her opinion. Now, research has long linked gut healthy diets with reduced chronic disease risk and immunity, as well as reduced stress, anxiety, and weight loss. In fact, some research suggests approximately 30 to 40% of cancer diagnoses could be prevented by modest diet and lifestyle changes. The health of the gut has been a topic of increasing research and discussion lately, and more people are aware of their gut microbiome than ever before. But what does this all mean? What is gut microbiome? Well, basically, gut microbiome is home to all of the bacteria in your digestive tract. The human gut is a complex ecosystem composed of about 100 trillion bacteria and 300 to 500 different species of bacteria. Now, you get your gut microbiome from your mother at birth, but it can be influenced by the very foods you eat, your environment, and of course, your lifestyle. Here to break it all down is Nichole Andrews. She's a registered dietitian and cancer nutrition specialist working in the field of oncology for over a decade. She helps survivors improve treatment outcomes, reduce risk of recurrence, and get them back to eating more foods with full confidence. She's worked with adult cancer survivors at all different stages of treatment and beyond. Welcome to the show, my fellow mom and stunning friend, expert in the field.
Thank you so much for having me, Zen. I'm so glad to be here.
It's exciting to have you on because I follow you on social media. Those of you that don't know Nichole, you should definitely check her out on social media. She's on the gram and everywhere. But talk to us about some of the key functions of the gut microbiome and what this, what this new trend of really eating gut healthy means to the average person.
Yeah, so I'm glad that this is something that's, that we're talking about more and that's getting spread more, because there's so much that we can do, like you were saying, with diet and, our lifestyle to improve your gut microbiome, to improve reducing risk for cancer. So, for example, reducing risk for all adults is following a higher fiber diet. So the American Institute for Cancer Research, they recommend 30 grams of fiber a day. So that's going to be, you're going to get that from eating more plant foods. That's also going to improve your gut health. So, not only do we want to have a lot of different variety of pro and prebiotics and high fiber foods to support our gut health, it's actually going to help reduce our risk for cancers as well.
Interesting. And when you're talking about, we hear a lot of headliners out there, like the link between sugar and cancer, reduce your sugar intake. Does that hold a lot of accuracy?
So, I don't think it's good to have a high sugar diet. I don't think anybody should have that. Really, what the research is showing is that we want to limit our sugar intake. It's not automatically sugar equals a disease or sugar equals cancer. That's not true. Sugar is a simple carbohydrate. Now, is it low in nutrition? Sure. That is something that most people enjoy. They can still have sugar. But really what we want to focus on is a balance. And a lot of that balance comes back to more plants for cancer prevention, to improve gut health. So having a variety of plants, making more of your diet about lean proteins, more plant foods, lean dairy. So sugar is still safe, we just don't want to have it take over the most of our diet. We really want to focus back on including more plants.
Well, when you talk about a cancer survivor or
Mhm.
cancer patient or somebody that's currently trying to really, fight for their life, so to speak, and
Mhm.
using food as a defense mechanism, what unique challenges do cancer patients face when it comes to nutrition?
Oh my gosh, they do face a lot. So there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of special diets or miracle foods. No one food is going to cause your cancer. No one food is going to cure your cancer. That's not really what we want to be focusing on. For cancer survivors during treatment, you want to eat really well, not skip meals, emphasize plants and lean proteins to optimize those treatment outcomes. Those healthy cells, any cancer survivor going through treatment, their healthy cells need lots of good nutrition. We really want to focus on that because that's what's going to help them feel better during treatments, have better treatment outcomes, support their immunity, support their gut health. They have a lot of different gut health issues during treatments. And then beyond treatment, post treatment, we want to focus more on how we can get in more plants. You don't have to go vegan or vegetarian. That's more of a personal choice. But we do know there's strong, strong evidence that we want to have more plants in our diet to reduce risk for cancer, to improve gut health, and to really support a really, really healthy immunity.
It's interesting you say the word plant keeps coming up in this interview, and I'm a big advocate for eating healthy and increasing the greens in one's diet. And when my
Mhm.
father was diagnosed with aggressive lung cancer in 2016, he passed
Mhm.
away from advanced small cell, and it was very aggressive. And I remember that his diet was extremely important during his chemotherapy treatments.
Mhm.
And I remember making him blended juices, green juices, keeping him as best I could hydrated and whatnot. But I felt that his diet played a big factor on his treatment. What's the difference between cancer patients who are working with a dietitian and really kind of catering to their dietary needs versus patients who are really not using this portion of our science to their benefit?
Oh my gosh, it's like night and day. So, getting good nutrition. So, this is what we have to think about metabolically. When there's cancer present, so we cannot starve cancer cells. And that's where a lot of people get confused. They're like, well, if I just adjust my diet or cut out certain food groups or cut out sugar, then my cancer will automatically go away. No, what we're trying to do, and especially when as a dietitian, we're trying to support that diagnosis given by the doctor. Whatever treatment regimen they have, I want them to go to that full dose. I want them feeling good. I want to support their healthy cells. So whenever a cancer survivor under treatment is eating, unfortunately, that nutrition is going to rebuilding the healthy cells, daily function, and unfortunately, it's still going to that cancer. Good news is attending those treatments will kill off that cancer. The absolute best way to feel better, feel more like yourself, have more energy during these treatments, and attend all treatments at full dose, which is the number one priority for cancer survivors, is making sure to eat enough calories and protein to support those healthy cells. So when I start working with clients and survivors, and I've worked, with so many over the years, once they start eating more protein, more calories, more variety, they're not skipping meals. They're emphasizing hydration, just like you said. They're doing more of these smoothies with all the different, calories, protein, plants. They end up having enough nutrition to really support the healthy cells. When we support healthy cells during treatment, they're going to feel better and they're going to make it to all those treatments to kill off that cancer.
That's beautiful. And you are what you eat. And that's something that I've always believed in. Your body is your temple. And,
Yeah.
of course, we don't always make the best choices for ourselves. We, get off our regular track. I know I do all the time, but balancing it all out is never easy. But I know that when I gave birth to Alexa in 2016, I quickly started, I mean, not only when I gave birth, the minute I found out I was pregnant, I started eating extremely healthy. My moral
Mhm.
compass went from 0 to 60 overnight, and I started exercising almost like every single night to make sure that I kept in check with what I should be
Yeah.
doing, not to gain too much weight throughout my pregnancy. But
Mhm.
I remember eating like a bag of steamed spinach every night because they had said to me that I was anemic when I in my first
Mhm.
trimester. And I
Mhm.
remember just doing all the research, and that one bag of spinach that I would literally microwave every night was all I needed, and I didn't have to go on extra, iron supplements. It was really the difference in
Yeah.
between the blood work from 1 month to the next, and it was all in that one bag. And once you boil a bag of spinach, it reduces to nothing. But in general, that was the premise in mind, that you can
Mhm.
actually prevent and cure a lot of this at home, essentially, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So diet just plays a huge, huge part in our life in reducing risk for disease and cancer. And there's just, again, there's so much research, the World Cancer Research Fund, American Institute for Cancer Research, because I'm here in the USA. There's just so much good information out there showing if you're exercising more, moving your body more. I love how you mentioned about exercise. And that's similar with cancer survivors too. They're like, okay, what do I do to feel better during treatment and to reduce risk of recurrence? Start exercising, 150 minutes of moderate physical activity a week. Start incorporating more plants. I mean, the standard, so for a cancer prevention plate, this is for all adults, reducing that risk for cancer. 2/3 of your plate should have fruits, veggies, nuts, seeds, beans, and grains. Carbs are not the enemy. You know, like whole grains are actually going to help to increase that fiber, help with gut health, help keep you full longer, balance blood sugars, you know, and then the other 1/3 is more like that lean proteins, the lean dairy, the fat choices, and the sugar. You know, I really agree with you that really what we eat makes such an impact in how we feel. We're going to have so much more energy. We're going to protect our immunity when we're moving our bodies, exercising, hydrated enough, and incorporating more of these foods to create that balance, like you'd mentioned.
Without a doubt. And, you know, once you start to really think about the functions of our gut and the microbiome and the scientific evidence behind it, you know,
Mhm.
a healthy gut protects us against infection. It strengthens the intestinal barrier. You know, you talked about having good bacteria and bad bacteria in our gut, and staying healthy means keeping them in balance or in equilibrium, right? The good bacteria help keep the bad bacteria from multiplying and going out of control, so to speak. So too much of the bad bacteria in our gut can result in a malfunctioning gut, which is what we see this list associated to, you know, constant fatigue, insomnia, skin irritations, food intolerances, the list goes on. But having a dietitian like you at hand, being able to shepherd the process along and to be able to guide people, I believe makes all the difference. It made all the difference in my father's outcome, and I know that for a fact. So very quickly, we have about a minute and a half left. What if you can give one message out there in terms of the misconceptions that you often see when it comes to food and cancer? What
Mhm.
advice would you give to people listening?
Sure. So honestly, and my clients will say this too, but we want to simplify your life on reducing cancer and other disease. Okay. We want to get back to food. We want to get back to, you know, sleeping 7 hours, hydrating your body. We want to simplify. You don't need a bunch of extra supplements. There's no miracle foods. You don't need to jump on the next diet trend. You need to get back to you simplifying things. Are you exercising most days? Are you incorporating more plants? Are you hydrating enough? Let's start there, because not only are you going to feel better and help your body, that's what's truly been shown to reduce risk for cancer and disease.
Beautiful. I loved it. You summed this up in such a sweet nutshell for us. Our listeners are definitely going to be checking you out. I know that for a fact. Guys, check her out, theoncologydietitian.com. Remember, the word dietitian is spelled with T's across the board. There are no C's, my friend. There are no C's. Check her out on Instagram as well at oncology.nutrition.rd. Thank you so much for joining us, Nichole. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I am your host, Zen Sams. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Aikido Pharma, an early-stage pharmaceutical company developing innovative drugs for improving anti-cancer and antiviral therapies. Traded on the NASDAQ under ticker AIKI. They have first-in-class partnerships with leading medical universities like the University of Maryland and the University of Texas. To learn more, go to www.aikidopharma.com.